Um, Trying to distill down today was is kind of interesting. And the one thing I heard overwhelmingly across all the sessions is as much as we talk about technology and in technology we trust, you can't pull the humans out of the loop. And even beyond, humans in the loop, which we heard repeatedly across both days, it's not just in the loop. It's humans as masters of the technology. We cannot let the technology dictate what we do. We can allow it to inform our thoughts. We can't allow it to be our thoughts. And that was just epic for me. That idea that the machines are going to take over, robots are going to take our jobs as knowledge management practitioners just doesn't appear to be the future. And I found that reassuring. Whether it was the keynote kickoff this morning with Rashad and Suki, that was so unbelievably passionate. It was hearing shouting coming from my computer, but good shouting was amazing. I appreciate the energy, and there was energy throughout the entire day. And I really do appreciate everybody who contributed, everybody who was contributing, whether you were presenting or in the side panel in the chat. The amount of energy, this is probably the most energy I've seen in a virtual summit since we all got locked in our houses. So that was pretty amazing, and I'm greatly appreciative of that. Just a couple of things I just wanted to take away. First of all, one of the things, excuse me, Rashad said was, you can't destroy our humanity. That was amazing. And point number 7, keep using your brain, was also important. And as I was pinging some of the practitioners and presenters throughout the conference, that kept coming out. Don't let go of your humanity. You have to keep using and applying rational thought, applying the discipline that we have, and let the technology do what the technology does. Let the technology handle the logic. Let the technology handle the parsing the big data sets. Let the technology go through multiple different scenarios. But you as a human, you as an intelligence practitioner, you as a competitive intelligence professional need to be able to sift through that data, and that's where we provide the value. That's where we do what the machines cannot do yet. So while I will jokingly say I for one welcome our robot overlords as quickly as others, I think that future is further off than we thought, but not in a bad way. Another piece that showed up is that the technology is always evolving. We had several conversations today where we talked about moving from things like Rolodexes to LinkedIn to other sources to mine that data, going from open source intelligence being a newspaper and a library to published articles online to being able to sift every published article online. It's the technology is evolving, and the trick is you just got to keep up. There's never going to be an audible click, boom, you're in the future. That's simply not going to happen. The future is occurring, it's coming, but as Little Orphan Annie said, it's always a day away. It's always going to be in the future. So as long as you can maintain and manage that pace of change and try to keep up, you're probably going to be okay. It's not like we're going to wake up tomorrow and realize that we are living in the matrix or we've hit the singularity. I don't think that's occurring yet. And the other thing that came out in a major way was, as we use these tools, whether it's machine learning or AI or natural language processing, to help us parse that massive amount of data that's out there, information security becomes even more important. We've all seen the statistics that we're generating more and more information throughout in any given second than we did in the entire history of humanity up until last Thursday. And while that is amazing, it still signifies that there is there's new ways we have to think about safeguarding that information, because more and more of that is becoming public all the time, and perhaps it was never intended to be so. So securing that information was great. And I go back to the panel discussion with Jay and Elise and August, where it was it was interesting hearing those different points of view that were out there. And I appreciate Elise, having worked in technology for as long as she has, taking a very cynical and skeptical approach to what's going on and saying, hey, this is great that that this is out there, but I'm afraid of technology. And she works in technology. At the same time, we talk about how having an RSS feed was futuristic 10 years ago, and now there's things that have supplanted that. So again, I think as long as we adapt and we get used to the future, it will still make sense to us, and we're not going to be the as somebody said in the chat, I think it was JP Radchak said, we're not going to be standing on our front yard, yelling at the metaverse to get off our yard. It's not quite going to be that. And then one thing that hit me during the middle of all of this, and I think it was during the panel with Elise and Jay in August, a company that has been held up as a poster child of information security for good and bad, and figuring out ways to use data that nobody else had ever foreseen, Facebook, rebranded itself as Meta during this conversation. The irony is amazing, that as we were discussing how information can be good, it can be bad, it just depends on how you wield it. A company that has been vilified of late for perhaps not always being on the side of light in that situation, rebrands itself. That to me was just amazing. And I think all of us are looking to see where that goes in the future, because that could be absolutely central to how we think about what information is shared and what information is given out. And then last thing is, there are two more things really. Another thing we picked up was keep thinking critically, because we can trust technology to a degree. Technology is black and white, it's ones and zeros, it's out there. And humans tend to be messy, but always think critically. Don't give up that critical thinking whenever you're confronted with information that doesn't make sense. In one of the networking sessions, I was talking to Suki, who kicked us off today, this morning, and she said, you know what, humans are willing to cede their critical thinking to machines when it's convenient for them, to the point where folks don't know how to read maps, they don't know which way is north, and they blindly trust their GPS when it tells them to drive into the lake. That's a bad thing. So keep having that critical thinking. Keep using your brain. The squishiness of our neurons is what separates us from the machines and allows us to harness the information they're giving to us. So that was another thing that popped out to me. I loved Rohan and Craig just recently talking about this. I'm going to use a couple of things from that. My favorite one was there are data people and there are non-numerics. And I love that idea as well. It brings me back to so many times in my life where you didn't want the data scientists to present something to the non-numeric executives. You needed to be able to put it in their language. Or sometimes, as we just heard, dumb it down sufficiently for executives to get it, which I've never done that out there. So all of this, again, during this, computers and the machine learning and the AI, that's what does logic best. Humans do analysis best. So I think, again, just to wrap up this whole thing, don't let the technology take over your job, because it can't do what you do. But it's a tool. Just like when I talked this morning about having a welder in the garage, it's a tool like any other. It can be used well, it can be used artfully, it can be used inartfully and burn your house down. Make sure that you've figured out how to wield those tools in a way that makes sense, and don't be a slave to the technology. We are still, as of today, in control. It's a tool. Master those tools. Keep up with the pace of change where you can. Let the technology help you do your job better. And don't think that just because we're using some sort of analytical models that go back to the 80s or the 70s that they're ineffective. We just have new ways to feed those models. We have new ways to apply what we know as human beings to just make use of this technology. So I am honestly not afraid of the future at all. I think we can trust the technology to a point. Technology is benign. How it is applied isn't. So that was my big takeaway here. But I appreciate the energy that everybody had throughout the day. This was probably the most interactive summit, a virtual summit, like I said, I've been in since all of this started. I look forward to seeing a lot of you again in the near future. And I look forward to continuing these conversations in other avenues. There was a lot to unpack here, a lot to think about. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who brought it together. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, including Aurora WDC, Common Telly, Crayon, Sedulo Group, which I'm a fan, and everyone else who brought this to life, including Knowledge Inform, the Business Intelligence Source, the Saskatchewan Health Research Foundation. This was just great, and oh, don't want to forget the last sponsor with Entyson as well. So Entyson Hines. So thank you again. Thank you everybody. Thank you for the platform, and thank you for the Competitive Intelligence Fellows for giving us a reason to all come together.